Senator Murray and Representative McDermott, would you like to join us on stage here? It is such a privilege to be able to present to you the senior senator from the state of Washington. Senator Patty Murray has been a warrior for the people of this state for how many years have you been here? 18. Oh wow, you know what to say? 18 years, did someone say? Is that right? 18 years. And she has just been terrific, just wonderful. And I don't want to be partisan, but I'm darn well committed to making sure she gets another term or two or three. So, without any further ado, the senior senator from the state of Washington, one of the leaders of the Senate Democratic Caucus, and our own mom in tennis shoes, Senator Patty Murray.
Robbie, thank you so much for the introduction. What a fantastic crowd. It is just heartwarming to see all of you out here today. I thought Robbie was retired, but he seems to be more active than ever. I think that's what happens. He was absolutely determined to put together a birthday celebration for Social Security, and this could never have happened without his tremendous hard work. Let's give Robbie a huge... Thank all of you for coming out here to celebrate with us today, and I want to join everyone in wishing Social Security a happy 75th birthday. We've just heard some really powerful, personal, heartwarming stories about the role that Social Security plays in the lives of so many Americans. It's stories like that that really make me so proud to stand up and fight to make sure that we keep Social Security strong. And it truly demonstrates the critical need for us to protect our seniors, not only now, but for future generations. Some of you may remember that August day in 1935 when President Roosevelt signed Social Security into law and forever changed what it meant to be a senior in America. I know I remember my own parents talking about seeing their grandmothers and grandfathers struggle to afford groceries or stay in their home after years of hard work in America. But Social Security changed all of that. It really gave our seniors a measure of dignity and well-deserved cushion as they went into retirement. It made sure they were protected, and it lifted millions out of poverty. Social Security changed America for the better 75 years ago in 1935, and it is just as important today. Without Social Security, nearly half of Americans who are over the age of 65 would live in poverty right now. Over half of them. You know now Social Security's been around for 75 years. It is a program that too many Americans today take for granted. They assume that if they work hard and obey the law and pay their taxes, that Social Security is going to be there to back them up when it comes to retirement. We cannot take it for granted because there are special interest groups and some politicians who are trying to gut this critical program you all know. As all of you know, just a few years ago, I stood up and I fought a Republican proposal to privatize Social Security. They wanted to take security out of Social Security, and they wanted to privatize it and turn it over to the free market. They wanted to turn it over to companies like Goldman Sachs and Lehman Brothers. Well, and that would have given no security whatsoever to thousands of people who know when the markets fell. I mean, we know now what has happened and have seen what has occurred on Wall Street with the money that was invested there. We cannot allow that to happen to our Social Security funds. So I stood up then and I fought that terrible plan, and I was able to be successful in Congress with Jim McDermott and other great stalwarts, and because all of you stood up and were strong and were behind us and at our back as we made sure that we were at your back by fighting for Social Security. And boy, the last few years have just been a perfect demonstration of what would happen if your money was tied up in Wall Street. Well, you know something? One go around on the third rail of politics wasn't enough for some of those Republicans. They are still trying to privatize and cut Social Security. They know that America rejected their attempts back in 2005, but they are still fighting for some of those Wall Street firms and special interests that want to reap billions of dollars if they get their hands on your Social Security checks. We say, no way, no how, and I know you're all with me on that. As long as I am your United States Senator, I will make sure that they don't privatize Social Security. You know, when I look at a program like Social Security, I don't see a program. I see a promise. I see a promise from one generation to the next. I see a promise from our country to our seniors and others like you heard from today. It's a promise that reflects the values that are so important that I grew up knowing from my parents, and we need to pass those values on to the next generation of caring for each other, for being there for those who may not be as fortunate for ourselves, and for valuing the work that people do for year after year after year, that when they retire, they will have the security of knowing they have a check that will come to them to pay their mortgage and put food on the table. Those are values I grew up with. Those are values many of you taught your children. Those are the values we are protecting. You know, in a minute you're going to hear from a young woman named Teresa and how she views the challenges ahead. You know, I have children and I have a grandson now. And I appreciate her speaking out for the next generation, because I'm never going to stop the efforts to privatize Social Security for our seniors, for Teresa and her generation, for my grandson, and for all those who follow behind us. So I want to thank all of you for coming here today, for being a part of this. You truly warm my heart that you will not forget, and you won't let those coming behind you lose what all of you know is so important for this country. So happy 75th birthday, and thank you all for being at my back as I go to fight.
So our next speaker, but Jim has not only been fighting for us to have a healthcare system that we can be proud of in this country. He's also the chair of the subcommittee